FERA is an internationally renowned laboratory working across the agri-food sector in the UK, focusing on a number of areas including food safety, food quality and food authenticity. In our regulatory mode, where we're trying to ensure enforcement against limits, for example on pesticides and for mycotoxins and for veterinary drug residues, is very much about speed of analysis and also meeting those challenging limits. So what we're really interested in is having technology that allows us to achieve lower and lower detection limits. That's not necessarily just detection limits for the sake of it, but allow us to speed up the front part of the analysis in terms of the sample cleanup. So the so-called dilute and shoot technologies, where you can have a very crude cleanup and then direct injection onto the machine. I started over 30 years ago when we were working on very basic equipment like thin layer chromatography, and it was very difficult then. You could only do one sample at a time, one particular analyte at a time. Now you can see multi-residue technology and meeting a multitude of limits and different chemicals being tested at the same time. I think there's a move from our perspective away from the targeted analysis that will still remain important because we need to demonstrate compliance with legislation, but more into the profiling area where we have more capability of understanding the known unknowns, but also looking for fingerprints where we want to differentiate between typical and atypical samples. In other words, looking for the emerging risks. When I talk to my clients, what they're interested in is determining change. What is changing in the food supply? So if you can use techniques such as Orbitrap mass spectrometry to profile foods, to obtain a fingerprint, and therefore decide what's typical, you can then have an early warning of what isn't typical and therefore take action. In other words, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.